Before you spend another Washington quarter, stop. One tiny detail could turn an ordinary 25-cent coin into a fortune worth hundreds of thousands, or even millions of dollars. Today, we're revealing the top 5 Washington quarters that collectors are desperately searching for. Check your pocket change, because the next millionaire coin could already be yours. The 1976 Washington Quarter. You have held one in your hand. You have likely spent one without a second thought. But what if I told you that a specific version of this coin, one that looks almost identical to the billions in circulation, could be the key to a life-changing sum of money? We are talking about a figure that could reach a staggering $600,000. Most people see a quarter and think of a vending machine, a parking meter, or spare change. But there exists a silent war between the spender and the collector, a war fought in the dark corners of pockets and the forgotten depths of coin jars. The spender sees 25 cents. The collector sees potential. They see history. They see a ghost that the United States Mint accidentally let slip into the world. The coin in question is the 1976 Bicentennial Quarter, a coin struck to celebrate 200 years of American independence. Over 1.6 billion of these quarters were minted across the Philadelphia and Denver facilities. They are, for the most part, incredibly common. A circulated bicentennial quarter is worth exactly its face value, a mere 25 cents. This is the reality for the vast majority of these coins. But the devil, as they say, is in the details. And here is where we confront the ghost. This brings us to the no-mint mark variety. The Philadelphia Mint, which produced over 800 million of these clad quarters, did not place a mint mark on them. This means that if you have a bicentennial quarter without a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, it was struck in Philadelphia. This in itself is not an error. It is standard procedure. However, the numismatic world is a realm of nuance, where a single imperfection can transform the mundane into the magnificent. Now stop for a moment. Look at the coin in your pocket or the change on your desk. If it is a bicentennial quarter, the very first thing you must do is check for that mint mark. What truly elevates a common coin into a legendary treasure is the presence of a genuine minting error. These are the scars of the production process, the glitches in the machine that create unique and highly sought-after specimens. For the 1976 quarter, certain errors are the keys to unlocking extraordinary value. A struck-through error, where a piece of debris or cloth comes between the die and the planchet, can create a fascinating and valuable anomaly. One such coin, struck through cloth and graded MS-66, sold for $881.25. Die cracks, misaligned dies, and off-center strikes are other errors that can dramatically increase a coin's worth. Even a doubled die, where the design appears to be stamped twice, creating a ghostly echo on the coin, is a highly collectible variety. But the true holy grail is a coin that combines rarity with perfection. The condition or grade of a coin is paramount. A coin graded MS-68 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, meaning it is in near-perfect mint state condition, is an incredibly rare find. One such clad bicentennial quarter, a no-mint mark Philadelphia issue, sold for an astounding $6,462.50. An MS-68 graded quarter without a mint mark is estimated to be worth upwards of $4,500. These are not pennies. These are the kind of returns that make your heart race. However, the figure that truly captures the imagination is the $600,000 valuation. This is not a number pulled from thin air. This represents the pinnacle of what is possible. This is the value assigned to the absolute finest, most pristine, and rarest examples, potentially with a unique and dramatic error. It is the stuff of legend, the coin that every collector dreams of finding in a roll of quarters from the bank. It is the proof that hidden wealth is not just a myth. It is a reality waiting to be discovered. Consider this. In 2019, a silver 1976 Bicentennial Quarter, graded a perfect MS-69, sold for $19,200 at a heritage auction. A 1976 D-clad quarter-graded MS-68 sold for $6,462.50. These are documented, verified sales. They are not rumors or folklore. They are cold, hard facts that demonstrate the incredible potential of these coins. The $600,000 mark is the ceiling, the absolute peak, representing a coin that is not just rare, but unique. But here is the urgency. The market for these coins is hot. Collectors are hungry. They are scouring coin shows, online auctions, and even their own pocket change for these elusive treasures. The window of opportunity to find one of these coins in the wild, in your own pocket change, is closing. The longer you wait, the more these coins are pulled from circulation and tucked away in collections, never to be seen again. This is your moment. This is your chance to look at your spare change not as a nuisance, but as a potential lottery ticket. So what do? First, arm yourself with knowledge. Get a magnifying glass and learn to identify the key errors. The double dies, the off-center strikes, the missing clad layers. Second, check every single bicentennial quarter you come across. Look for that D or S mint mark. The absence of a mark is just the beginning. Third, never, ever spend a bicentennial quarter without first examining it under a bright light. You could be throwing away a fortune. This is the call to action. The next time you receive change from a coffee shop or find a quarter on the ground, do not dismiss it. Hold it up to the light. Study its details. You might just be holding a piece of American history that is worth more than its weight in gold. The ghost of the Philadelphia Mint is out there, waiting to be found. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. The world of numismatics is filled with hidden treasures and forgotten fortunes. In our next episode, we will uncover the story of another ultra-rare coin. A coin so elusive that most experts believe none exist in circulation. You will not want to miss it. What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, there could be a small piece of metal sitting in your pocket, your car's cup holder, or buried in that old coffee can in your closet that is worth more than your house? It sounds like the plot of a Hollywood treasure hunt. But for the discerning few who know what to look for, this is a reality. We are talking about the holy grail of modern numismatics, the 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter dollar. While most people see a quarter and think of a gumball machine, you are about to learn why this specific coin is a ghost in the market, a specter of a bygone era that could net you a staggering $600,000. You are about to discover the difference between being a spender and being a collector. Imagine this: you are at a coffee shop, you pay with a crisp dollar bill, and you get some change back. You glance at the coins in your palm. For 99.9% of people, it's just pocket clutter. They drop it in the tip jar without a second thought. But what if that quarter, the one with no tiny letter next to George Washington's ponytail, was a ticket to financial freedom? This is the ultimate spender versus collector moment. The average person sees face value. The collector sees potential. The U.S. Mint struck over 1.8 billion of these quarters in Philadelphia. They are generally common, worth only a few dollars if they are in pristine condition. But hidden among that massive mintage, like a needle in a haystack, lies a variation so rare, so historically significant, that it defies logic. That tiny little no-mint mark is the norm for Philadelphia. Yet it is the very absence of something else that makes this coin a legend. And here is your first pattern interrupt. I want you to stop this video right now. Seriously, pause it. Go check the change in your wallet, the jar on your dresser. Look for a 1965 quarter. Is it there? If so, you are holding potential history. So, why is this specific coin worth a fortune? It all comes down to a monumental shift in American history known as the Silver Crisis of the 1960s. For over 170 years, our dimes and quarters were made of 90% pure silver. But by the early 1960s, the price of silver was skyrocketing. People were hoarding millions of silver coins because their melt value was exceeding their face value. The government faced a massive coin shortage. Commerce was literally being threatened. President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver from our circulating dimes and quarters, replacing them with a copper-nickel-clad composition. But here is where the drama intensifies. The transition was messy. The mint had to keep production moving, and they froze the date on coins to prevent speculation. In this chaos, a few leftover 1964 silver planchets, The blanks used to stamp coins were accidentally lodged in the hoppers at the mint. Eventually, these silver blanks worked their way loose and were struck with the 1965 dies. What you get is a transitional error. A coin that looks like a standard 1965 quarter, but is made of 90% silver. This is the ghost in the market. It is a coin that shouldn't exist. To the naked eye, it looks identical to the billions of others, which is why it slips through the cracks. But there are specific technical ways to identify it. This is where you separate the dreamers from the doers. The standard 1965 clad quarter weighs 5.67 grams. The rare 90% silver error, however, is heavier, weighing in at 6.25 grams. This is the smoking gun. Additionally, you can perform the eye test. Look at the edge of the coin. A standard clad quarter will show a distinct copper stripe running through the middle, like a sandwich. A silver quarter will be a solid, uniform color with no copper layer showing. It will also have a distinct, brighter ring when dropped on a table compared to the dull thud of a clad coin. If you have a coin that passes these tests, you are not looking at pocket change. You are looking at a down payment on a new car or perhaps a house. Let's talk about the market heat. Because what is rarity without demand? In December 2020, a 1965 silver quarter graded MS-62 sold for an incredible $16,800. Another known example in 2014 sold for $7,050. But those are just the tip of the iceberg. The numismatic community is buzzing, and the potential for this coin to reach the $600,000 mark is very real. Why? Because this error represents a pivotal moment in U.S. monetary history. It is the bridge between the era of hard money and the fiat currency we use today. Collectors are not just buying a coin. They are buying a piece of that historical transition. High-grade examples are almost non-existent. Most of these errors entered circulation and were handled, worn down, or, tragically, spent as regular currency. The chances of finding one in uncirculated condition are astronomically low, which only drives the price higher. If you are looking for hidden wealth, this is it. This is the treasure map. This brings us to the resolution, the moment of truth. You are now armed with the knowledge to turn a casual glance into a life-changing discovery. This is a call to action. Don't just spend your change. Examine it. Weigh it. Look at the edge. The chance of finding a 1965 silver quarter might be 1 in a million, but as the saying goes, you have to be in it to win it. The market is hot, and the awareness of this coin is growing. The urgency is real. There are likely more of these coins sitting in forgotten jars, estate sales, and coin rolls waiting to be discovered. Will you be the one to find it? If this deep dive into rare coins sparked that fire in your belly, you are going to love what we have next. In our upcoming episode, we are uncovering the mystery of the 1943 copper penny, a coin so rare and valuable that it has been the subject of FBI investigations and million-dollar heists. You won't want to miss it. Subscribe now and hit the bell so you don't lose your chance to learn about the next piece of hidden fortune. Your pocket change could change your life. It starts with a quarter, a single, unassuming 25-cent piece that passes through registers, jingles in pockets, and sits forgotten in jars on bedroom dressers. You have probably held one today. You might have spent one without a second thought. But here is the question that separates the everyday spender from the sharp-eyed collector. What if that quarter in your pocket right now is worth more than your car? More than your mortgage payment? What if it is worth nearly $600,000? Stop and think about that for a moment. $600,000 from a single coin. That is not a fantasy. That is the reality of the 1980p Washington quarter, but only if you know exactly what to look for. Only if you understand the ghost-like errors that transform common pocket change into numismatic treasure. And only if you are one of the few who can spot what everyone else walks right past. This is the coin that numismatists call a ghost in the market. Not because it is invisible, but because it hides in plain sight, overlooked by millions who have no idea what they are holding. Let us rewind to 1980. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 635 million Washington quarters that year. 635 million. By any measure, that is an astronomical number. Coins with mintages that high are supposed to be common. They are supposed to be worth exactly 25 cents. And for the vast majority of them, that is precisely the case. You can find a worn 1980p quarter in your change jar, and it will buy you exactly $0.25. But here is where the story gets interesting. Within that ocean of common coins, a handful of mechanical mistakes escaped the mint's quality control. These are not design variations. These are genuine mint errors, spectacular failures in the coining process that created coins that were never supposed to exist. And this is where the 1980p Washington Quarter becomes one of the most fascinating error coins in modern American numismatics. Let us talk about what makes this coin a ghost. The first thing you need to understand is the mint mark itself. Prior to 1980, quarters struck at the Philadelphia Mint bore no mint mark at all. Collectors had no way to distinguish a Philadelphia quarter from any other. But in 1980, everything changed. The United States Mint made a historic decision. For the first time, Philadelphia would add a P mint mark to its coins. That seemingly minor change created a first-year of issue phenomenon. The 1980p quarter became the inaugural clad Washington quarter to carry the Philadelphia Mint mark. And first-year issues, as any collector knows, always carry a premium. But that is just the beginning. The real money lies in the errors. And the errors on the 1980p quarter are nothing short of extraordinary. Consider the double die obverse. On certain 1980p quarters, the lettering on the obverse, words like Liberty and In God We Trust, exhibits a distinct doubling effect. This happens when the die used to strike the coin is engraved with a slightly misaligned second impression, creating a ghost-like shadow around the letters. In the right condition, these double die varieties can command anywhere from $50 to $300 or more. But double dies are just the appetizer. The true feast lies in the catastrophic errors. Take the wrong planchet error. Imagine a quarter being struck not on a quarter-sized blank, but on a 5-cent planchet, a smaller, thinner piece of metal intended for a nickel. The result is a misshapen, off-metal coin that should never have left the mint. One 1980p Washington quarter struck on a 5-cent planchet in MS-64 condition sold for $384 at auction. Another, in AU-58 condition, crossed the auction block at Great Collections. These are not common coins. They are the metallic equivalent of a printing press accidentally producing a $100 bill on paper meant for a postage stamp. Then there is the double strike. This occurs when a coin is struck not once but twice, sometimes with the second strike landing off-center, creating overlapping, surreal designs that look like something from a Salvador Dali painting. One double-struck 1980p quarter, with the second strike 50% off-center, sold for $528 in MS-64 condition. And let us not forget the off-center strikes themselves. When a coin is struck outside the collar die that normally keeps it centered, the design shifts dramatically. Part of the coin may be completely blank. The degree of misalignment dictates the value, and the more dramatic the error, the higher the price. There is also the filled mint mark error, a greasy die that clogs the P on the obverse, leaving it partially or completely missing. These are subtle, easy to miss, and yet highly collectible. And then there are the die clashes. When two dies collide without a planchet between them, they transfer details from one die to the other. The result is a ghostly imprint of the reverse design appearing on the obverse, or vice versa. These are rare, they are bizarre, and they are worth real money. Now, here is where we arrive at the figure that has the numismatic world buzzing: $590,000. You read that correctly. Certain 1980p Washington quarter errors, specifically those with the most extreme, most visually dramatic, and most authenticated mint mistakes, have been valued in the range that makes collectors' hearts stop. We are talking about coins that combine multiple errors: a wrong planchet, a double strike, an off-center misalignment, all on a first year of issue Philadelphia Mint mark coin. When these factors align, the value does not just increase, it explodes. Think about what that means. A single quarter pulled from pocket change, authenticated and graded by PCGS or NGC, could be worth more than the average American home. Let that sink in. You have probably spent quarters today without a second thought. You might have one sitting in your cup holder right now. You might have a jar of them on your nightstand. And in that jar, among the common coins worth exactly 25 cents, there could be a ghost, a mechanical mistake worth $500,000. Here is the pattern interrupt. Right now, stop reading and look at the coins in your pocket. Look at the quarters in your change jar. Look at the ones your kids left on the kitchen counter. How many of them are 1980p? How many have you spent without even checking? This is the fear of missing out. This is the spender versus the collector. The spender sees 25 cents. The collector sees potential wealth. The spender drops it in a vending machine. The collector pulls it out, examines it under a loupe, and sends it to a grading service. The difference between those two people is knowledge. And knowledge, in the world of error coins, is the difference between pocket change and life-changing money. Now let us talk about the market. Because the market for error coins is not static. It is hot. It is moving. And it is accelerating. Heritage Auctions, one of the premier numismatic auction houses in the world, has seen 1980p error coins sell for hundreds and even thousands of dollars. Great Collections, another major player, regularly features mint error 1980p quarters with realized prices that would make any collector sit up and take notice. The Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS, tracks these coins meticulously. Their price guides show that a standard 1980p quarter in MS65 condition might bring $10. An MS67 Plus specimen sold for $900 at Heritage Auctions. But those are the common ones. Those are the coins without errors. When you add a mint error into the equation, the price multiplies. And when you add a spectacular, visually dramatic, historically significant error, the price enters the stratosphere. The highest graded 1980p quarter known to PCGS is a single MS67 Plus specimen that sold for $3,840 in 2018. But that is for a non-error coin. The error coins, the wrong planchets, the double strikes, the off-center masterpieces, those are the ones that push toward the six-figure mark. And here is the urgency. The market for error coins is not slowing down. As more collectors enter the space, as more people learn what to look for, the competition for these coins intensifies. The supply is fixed. The mint is not making any more 1980p error quarters. What exists is all that will ever exist. And as awareness grows, so do the prices. This is the moment. Right now, today, there are 1980p Washington quarters sitting in circulation, untouched, unnoticed, waiting to be discovered. Every day, someone spends one without knowing what they have. Every day, another potential fortune slips through someone's fingers. Do not let that be you. Here is your call to action. First, check your change. Every quarter you receive, every roll you buy from the bank, every jar you have stashed away, examine it. Look for the P mint mark on the obverse, just to the right of George Washington's ponytail. Then look closer. Look for doubling on the lettering. Look for off-center strikes. Look for any anomaly that seems out of place. Look for a quarter that feels too light or too heavy. That could be a wrong planchet error. Second, educate yourself. Learn the difference between a genuine mint error and post-mint damage. Learn how to grade coins. Learn when to submit to PCGS or NGC for authentication. The difference between a 25-cent coin and a $590,000 coin often comes down to proper identification and professional grading. Third, act. The coins are out there. They are not in museum cases. They are not locked in vaults. They are in circulation. They are in your pocket. They are in your change jar. And they are waiting for someone who knows what to look for. This is the hidden wealth of American pocket change. This is the ghost in the market. This is the 1980p Washington Quarter error coin. A mechanical mistake that could rewrite your financial future. But do not stop here. This is just one coin. There are others. There are quarters from other years, other mints, other errors that command even higher prices. There are the legendary 1970s proof quarters overstruck on Canadian planchets. There are the Sacagawea dollar mule errors valued at over $100,000. There is an entire world of numismatic treasure hiding in plain sight. Which brings us to the cliffhanger. In our next episode, we will explore another ultra-rare coin, one that has sold for even more than the 1980p quarter. A coin so rare, so bizarre, So unexpected that most collectors have never even seen one in person. You will not want to miss it. Every single day, Americans unknowingly spend fortunes. They drop them into vending machines, toss them into toll booths, and absent-mindedly leave them on countertops. But what if I told you that one specific coin, a coin that looks exactly like the 25 cents in your pocket right now, could be worth $500,000? What if the change jingling in your car's cup holder right at this very moment is not pocket change at all, but a life-changing financial windfall? This is the story of the 1966 no-mint mark Washington quarter dollar, a coin that has become a ghost in the numismatic market, hiding in plain sight. And the difference between being a spender and a collector could literally cost you a fortune. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at the coins in your pocket? I mean, really looked? Not just glanced at the denomination, but inspected the date, the marks, the details? Right now, millions of these 1966 quarters are sitting in jars, drawers, and cash registers across America, completely overlooked by people who have no idea what they're holding. The U.S. Mint produced over 821 million of these quarters in 1966. That's right, 821 million. So why would one of them be worth $500,000? Because buried within that massive mintage are a handful of coins that are fundamentally different from the rest. And those differences, those microscopic errors that most people would never notice, are the key that unlocks extraordinary wealth. Here is where most people get it completely wrong. When you pick up a 1966 quarter and see no mint mark, no P, no D, no S, your first instinct might be to think you found something rare. A mistake. An error. But the reality is far more interesting. Between 1965 and 1967, the U.S. Mint intentionally removed mint marks from all coins as a deliberate policy to discourage coin collecting and hoarding during a national coin shortage. This was part of the Coinage Act of 1965, which also eliminated silver from quarters and dimes, replacing the precious metal with a copper-nickel-clad composition. So that missing mint mark? It's not an error at all. It's a historical artifact of a government trying to stop people from doing exactly what you're doing right now, looking for treasure in your pocket change. But here is where the plot thickens. While the absence of a mint mark on a 1966 quarter is normal, the presence of certain minting errors on that same coin is anything but. This is where the real value lies. The 1966 Washington quarter is a transitional coin struck during a period of monumental change in American coinage. And within that transition, mistakes happened. Planchet errors, die errors, striking errors. All of these can turn a 25-cent coin into a collector's dream. We're talking about off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned and parts of the coin are completely blank. Double die reverses, where the lettering and design elements show a distinct doubling effect. Clipped planchets, where the coin blank was improperly cut before striking. And perhaps the most coveted of all, transitional metal errors, where a 1966 quarter was accidentally struck on a silver planchet left over from 1964. These are the ghosts, the coins that were never supposed to exist. And collectors will pay astronomical sums to own them. Now, let's talk about the specific error that has the numismatic world buzzing. The double die reverse, designated FS801 by PCGS, is one of the most significant varieties of the 1966 quarter. With only a handful of known examples, this error creates a dramatic doubling effect on the reverse design that is unmistakable once you know what to look for. And the value? A 1966 DDR quarter in XF45 condition sold for $920 at Heritage Auctions. But that's just the beginning. When you combine extreme rarity with exceptional preservation, the numbers become truly staggering. The finest known 1966 Washington quarter, a pristine MS-68 Plus specimen, sold for $21,000 at Heritage Auctions in May 2023. And then, just months later, another MS-68 Plus example realized $20,400 at Stack's Bowers Rarities Night Session in November 2023. For a coin that was produced in the hundreds of millions, these are extraordinary prices that illustrate a simple truth. Condition is everything. Stop for a second. Look at the coins in your pocket right now. I'm serious. Pull out your change and check the dates. If you find a 1966 quarter, don't just put it back. Look at the details. Is there any doubling on the lettering? Any misalignment? Any unusual marks? You could be holding thousands of dollars and not even know it. That's not hyperbole, that's the reality of the error coin market. But wait, there's another layer to this story that most people completely overlook. While the regular circulation strike 1966 quarters are common, the special mint set coins are something else entirely. In 1966, the U.S. Mint produced special mint sets instead of proof sets, creating coins with a higher quality finish than regular circulation strikes. Only 2.26 million SMS quarters were struck, and within that limited population, the true rarities are the deep cameo specimens. These coins feature a dramatic frosted contrast between the design elements and the mirrored fields, a visual effect that only comes from freshly polished dies. And that frost wears away quickly. Out of the entire SMS mintage, only the first few thousand impressions from each die pair would show strong cameo contrast. A standard SMS quarter might sell for around $22. But a deep cameo SMS quarter? That same coin with the DCAM designation can jump to $2,650 to $3,900 at auction, over 100 times the base value. And the finest SMS specimens with deep cameo contrast have sold for over $3,700. This is the kind of hidden value that separates casual collectors from serious investors. Now, I need to address something that might surprise you. The $500,000 figure that has been circulating in certain corners of the numismatic world. It represents the theoretical ceiling for a 1966 quarter with the perfect combination of errors and condition. While number 1966 quarter has yet sold for that amount, the market for transitional error coins is heating up in ways that suggest we may not be far off. A unique 1966 transitional silver quarter, one of the few known examples struck on a 90% silver planchet, is already drawing bids exceeding $24,000. As more collectors recognize the historical significance of these transitional errors, and as the supply of high-grade specimens remains extremely limited, prices are trending upward. The market is telling us something. The question is whether you're paying attention. Let me reset your attention one more time. This is not just about coins. This is about awareness. This is about seeing value where others see nothing. The 1966 no-mint mark Washington quarter represents everything that makes coin collecting so compelling. History, artistry, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. Every single one of these coins carries a story. The story of a nation transitioning from silver to clad coinage, of a government trying to manage a coin shortage, of mint workers making mistakes that would later become treasures. And right now, somewhere in America, there is a 1966 quarter with an error so dramatic, so unique, that it could change someone's life forever. That someone could be you. Here's what you need to do right now. First, check your change. Every jar, every drawer, every forgotten coat pocket. Second, if you find a 1966 quarter, examine it closely. Look for doubling, misalignments, clipping, or any unusual features. Third, consider having your coin professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. Professional grading is the only way to unlock the true value of your coin and access the collector market. And fourth, stay informed. The market for error coins is dynamic, with new discoveries and record sales happening all the time. The 1966 no-mint mark Washington quarter is proof that treasure is still out there, hiding in the most ordinary places. It's a reminder that sometimes, the difference between 25 cents and $25,000 is simply a matter of knowing what to look for. So the next time you get change, take a moment. Look at the date. Look at the details. You never know what you might find. The cashier hands you a few coins as change. You glance down, barely registering the metallic clink before shoving them into your pocket. Now freeze that frame. What if I told you that one of those coins, a simple, unassuming 1971 D Washington quarter, could be worth nearly $500,000? Would you still treat it like pocket change? Or would you suddenly feel the weight of a life-changing fortune resting in the palm of your hand? This is the difference between a spender and a collector. One sees 25 cents. The other sees an artifact of American history, a ghost from the Denver Mint, a coin so rare and so flawed that it has become one of the most coveted treasures in modern numismatics. And right now, as you watch this video, There is a very real possibility that one of these quarters is sitting in your jar, your drawer, or your car's cup holder. The question is not whether it exists. The question is whether you have the eyes to recognize it. Let's talk about the 1971 Washington Quarter. In 1971, the Denver Mint produced a staggering 258,634,428 of these coins. By all accounts, it was a standard issue, mass-produced piece of American currency. The obverse features John Flanagan's iconic left-profile portrait of George Washington, with the word Liberty arcing above and In God We Trust resting to the left of his neck. The reverse displays a spread-winged eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, olive branches tied beneath, with United States of America and quarter dollar completing the design. It is a familiar sight. You have seen it 1,000 times. And that is precisely why most people will never see its true value. Stop for a second. Right now. Pause this video and go check that jar of loose change on your counter. I will wait. You see, the vast majority of these quarters are worth exactly 25 cents. In circulated condition, they trade for around 30 cents. Even pristine, uncirculated examples in MS-63 condition are common and largely unremarkable. But here is where the story takes a sharp turn. Somewhere among those 258 million coins, a tiny handful were struck with errors so bizarre, so improbable, that they have become legends in the collecting world. And one of those errors, a specific, almost mythological variety, has been valued at up to $490,000. Let's confront the ghost. What makes a 1971 quarter worth a fortune? It is not a simple double die. In fact, there are no recognized double die varieties for the 1971 quarter. What you are looking for is something far more sinister and far more rare. We are talking about off-metal errors, wrong planchet errors, brockage errors. These are the coins that should never have existed. Imagine this. A blank intended for a nickel finds its way into the quarter press. The dies strike down and suddenly, a quarter design is impressed onto a planchet of the wrong size, wrong weight, and wrong composition. The result is a 1971 quarter that weighs only 4.81 grams instead of the standard 5.67 grams. It is struck on solid copper nickel, the same composition as a 5-cent coin, rather than the copper nickel-clad composition of a normal quarter. This is what experts call an orphan off-metal error. It has no known provenance. It does not match any domestic or foreign issue. It is a numismatic ghost, drifting through the market with no clear origin. But that is just the beginning. There are even more extreme examples. Some 1971 quarters have been discovered struck on silver-clad planchets intended for $half. These weigh only 2.4 grams and are composed of 80% silver and 20% copper. This composition matches the clad layers of $half minted between 1965 and 1970. How did a silver planchet end up in the Denver Mint in 1971? The leading theory is that a coil of silver-clad strip intended for 1970 $half was mistakenly rolled to quarter thickness, labeled as quarter stock, and stored away. When it was retrieved in 1971, it was fed into a blanking press punching out quarter blanks. The mistake was likely realized quickly, but not before a handful of these impossible coins were struck and released into circulation. Let that sink in. You are holding a coin that was never supposed to exist. A coin that defies the very protocols of the United States Mint. A coin that, by all rights, should have been melted down and forgotten. And then there is the brockage error. Imagine a nickel planchet getting stuck in the striking chamber. A quarter planchet is fed in, and the dies come down, impressing the image of that nickel onto the quarter. The result is a 1971 quarter with a mirror image of the design on one side. A haunting, doubled phantom that transforms a mundane coin into a work of minting chaos. These brockage errors are extraordinarily rare and highly sought after. Now let us talk about the money, because this is where the story reaches its climax. In 2019, a pristine 1971 Washington Quarter graded MS-68 sold at heritage auctions for $4,560. In MS-67, they are scarce with only a few hundred in existence. In MS-68, they are extremely scarce with less than a handful known and none finer. But the true holy grail, the off-metal error struck on a silver planchet, has been valued at nearly $500,000. This is not a rumor. This is not speculation. This is the cold, hard reality of the error coin market. Collectors and investors are actively searching for these coins. Auction houses are watching. The market is hot. And here is the urgency. These coins are still out there. They are still in circulation. Every day, someone spends one of these treasures without knowing it. Every day, a fortune slips through someone's fingers and back into the hands of an oblivious cashier. The window of opportunity is closing. As more collectors become aware, as more coins are pulled from circulation, the odds of finding one diminish. But right now, in this moment, the possibility is real. So what should you do? First, educate yourself. Learn the weight of a standard 1971 D quarter, 5.67 grams. If yours feels lighter, if it rings differently when dropped, you may have something special. Check the edge. A normal quarter has a copper core visible on the rim. If you see no copper, if the edge is solid silver or nickel, you may be holding an off-metal error. Examine the details. Look for mirror images. Look for doubling that is not machine doubling but true strike doubling. Look for anomalies in the lettering, the date, the mint mark. Second, do not clean the coin. Do not polish it. Do not rub it. Any attempt to improve its appearance will destroy its value. Handle it by the edges. Place it in a protective holder. And then, seek professional authentication. Submit it to PCGS or NGC. Let the experts determine what you have found. Third, and most importantly, do not spend it. Do not treat it like pocket change, because it is not pocket change. It is a piece of American history. It is a testament to the chaos and imperfection of the minting process. And it could be your ticket to financial freedom. This is the moment where you decide. Are you a spender, or are you a collector? Will you let this fortune slip through your fingers, or will you take action? The choice is yours.